Hello all. My book was Recovery from Trauma, Addiction, or Both: Strategies for Finding Your Best Self by Dr. Lisa M. Navovitz. So what I'll be doing is going over the summary of the book, going over the theories and ideas that I found present in the book, and then giving my own critique. In the book, Dr. Nahovitz talks about how trauma and addiction are generally treated separately in the field of psychology, but she goes on to make the claim that treating trauma and addiction together would be beneficial to people experiencing both, because addiction could be used as a coping mechanism to past trauma. As such, she talks a lot about the coping mechanisms that people can use and different ways of identifying triggers. She provides many resources in the back of the book for the readers to seek out for themselves. And with each claim that she makes, she puts a reference in so that you can check the source yourself. What I found really interesting was that the author talked about how the book could really be read in any order based on the needs of the reader. So the reader could jump to a section based on possible selves, a section based on social pain, a section based on safe coping mechanisms, and a section even on identity formation. So with that said, let's jump into the theories and ideas that I identified within the book that I decided to write about in my essay. The first idea that I identified was the idea of the possible selves. There was actually a chapter solely based on it, but it was interesting in that the author decided to use possible selves as a form of goal setting. So the possible selves that a person created through the framework of the book would be able to be set as a goal for the person to work towards. The next idea that I decided to hit upon in my essay was the stereotypes and stigmas and how they can influence the self-concept. The author talked about how stereotypes and stigmas can be detrimental to the person in recovery due to the fact that the labels, such as being a person recovering from addiction or a person who suffered trauma, those labels have certain connotations with them that people may play into because they have been labeled with it. I thought it was really important to include stereotypes and stigmas within my essay because they can play a large part in how we view our self-concept. Moving on to my critique, I found that the book itself was very scientifically accurate. Based on the book, the author has been in the field of psychology for over 40 years now. Overall, I found that the author included a lot of scientifically based coping skills. They also talked about different scientific theories and how they pertain to the activities that the reader was going through. The author also explained how those theories pertained to the reader themselves and how they could benefit. To be honest, I really enjoyed the book. I found that there was a lot to take away from it, even though I may not necessarily be someone who is recovering from trauma or addiction. It definitely provided a lot of different resources that I will be looking into as time goes on, not only for myself to be educated, but to be able to help others around me. As such, I would like to thank you for your time and listening to me.